Why it's important to live the life of a warrior. Welcome back, my friend. I hope you're having a great, beautiful, and blessed day. As usual, let's get straight into it. Now, somebody asked me, Ches, can you make a video on the importance of living like a warrior? This is what that video is, but this may be a little surprising to you. Now, throughout all of my studies, just hours upon hours of reading and, just talking to people in person, from my fight coaches to all of my trainers, to my friends, on top of all the books, visiting the library, just hours upon hours. Dude, I really enjoy going to the library, especially back when I was fighting. I just wanted to know things, okay? And then, because of access to the internet, Google, I can DM great coaches. I mean, we're so connected to the world now, but just throughout all of my research, all of my study, and all of my life experiences, okay, I can tell you that living your life following the warrior path is not that important, okay? Reason being is this: when you study great warriors, great martial artists, great soldiers, great kings, you will always see that their discipline, their lifestyle was secondary. The main thing that matters in this life, no matter what anybody tells you, is love, okay? Love is the most important thing within this universe. Every great warrior, every great martial artist, every great soldier, they became great. Every great athlete, every great humanitarian, every great human being became great because of some type of love for what they were doing and what ideas they were trying to push forth into the world. It's hard to create grand architecture when you don't have a love for the type of architecture that you're building. It's hard to really be disciplined, go on a diet, train 6 to 8 hours a day when you do not have a deep love for what you're doing. So, when I studied martial artists, ancient martial artists who were actually like warrior art, their skills were to kill, not to show off. A lot of it, they became who they became. They trained and developed themselves into the individual that they were because they had a love for their dynasty, their regime, for their king, for their queen, for their philosophy, for their culture, for their way of life. They loved the people. They loved their group. They loved every aspect. They loved the food of their culture. They loved their traditions of their culture. And to preserve it, they did everything in their power to be the strongest, sharpest, most capable individual to ensure that they can preserve their traditions, their culture. So a lot of you guys out here claim to be martial artists, but you really have no love for it, because if you did, your life would look a little different. I can honestly say that. As an individual, you guys see what I can do just from me jumping the rope. You can see like I've put some time into it. Dude, jumping the rope the way that I do it's not natural. It doesn't come naturally. I had to work for it. And in order for me to get it to where I have it now, you can say I made sacrifices, but it wasn't even a sacrifice. Like, I enjoy that aspect of boxing training, kickboxing training. I have a love for it. So I gave up a lot in order for me to do that. I really don't care about other things. Same thing with everything else. When I looked at other warriors, like, they lived very crazy lives. You look at Miyamoto Musashi, really odd life, but he had a love. When you read his book, the Book of the Five Rings, it's a love for this type of lifestyle, a love for always being the winner, a love for always coming out on top, a love for being the sharpest individual that you can be. in order to not get killed. This is where the greatest planning techniques come from. They come from love. I mentioned Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I'm not gonna dog Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu to me is Jiu-Jitsu. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu I learned was Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So my Jiu-Jitsu, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, is really closely related to Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. That's where it came from. It's very brute, it's very basic, and it was more oriented towards the streets and killing off other martial arts. That's what Gracie Jiu-Jitsu was. They were just going to every martial arts gym that they could find, and they were just testing their best students and their shifus, and they were killing them. But when you look at the history of the Gracie family, dude, one brother couldn't have kids, so the brother he made kids with a woman and gave his kids to his brother so they could have just sons that could carry on this legacy of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. That was their only goal. They had a love for the Jiu-Jitsu they learned from Japan, from a certain individual. You got to go do your research, but they had a love for this Jiu-Jitsu. They had a love for what they evolved it to. They had a love for what their Jiu-Jitsu brought to them, their confidence, their strength. They didn't really do any crazy strength work. Helio Gracie, not really the founder. The brother was like the founder, but Helio Gracie was the weaker of the two brothers. He had like a sickness. He was very ill. He was very skinny. When you look at pictures of him, he was about 135. Through evolving and practicing and having a love for jiu-jitsu, the brother didn't have to do any crazy strength training. They gave him some techniques. He learned about leverage, body control. He mixed it in with the Japanese jiu-jitsu, and he became a formidable force on the streets, on the mats, in the ring. I mean, that time they were just like fighting like on the floor. So, and it was based out of love. They had this love for the jiu-jitsu that they learned, and they wanted to evolve it, and they had a love for becoming stronger, using leverage, using discipline and technique, and they had a love for what they've grew Japanese Jiu-Jitsu into, so they created a family. That's just one faction. There's also kickboxing. Kickboxing is derived from karate. Now, to the history that I understand, there was always beef between karate and Thailand, okay? Muay Thai. And these guys were always going at it. And the Thai guys, they had a different style. They had a very traditional Muay Thai style, but they were always going at it. Kyokushin, Thailand. And then because of, the army, the wars, Americans were going to Japan, and they were like teaching these guys boxing. So they were mixing their karate with boxing. And this is how kind of kickboxing emerged. The first school, okay, technically, there were 3 Kyokushin fighters that went to Thailand. 2 of them won, 1 of them lost. 2 of them continued the Kyokushin. The one that lost ended up going back to his home country, which was Holland, I think. Okay, this is just a story. It's kind of fuzzy, but technically, I think the one that lost, his home country was Holland. He went back home, got the kickboxing, integrated the Thai boxing with the karate, the Kyokushin, and he came up with his style, Dutch kickboxing. Okay, but ultimately, with all these things that I'm telling you, I can bring it back to even like the Bhagavad Gita, archery, all these things, all these greatest warriors that you will ever read about. King Kamehameha. I mean, in Hawaii we have the Lua, the art of bone breaking. That's the Hawaiian martial art. And then you got my line, which I studied with Universal Kempo in Hawaii. Okay, they have a thing called Kaju Kempo. If you guys know what that is, it's an extremely hardcore self-defense martial art. I mean, Kaju Kempo, they still have gis and a belt system, but it's really, really like rugged and hardcore. The most famous individual you would know from this Kempo Kaju Kempo line would be Chuck Liddell for you old school UFC guys. Chuck Liddell he's under the umbrella of Kaju Kempo, Hawaiian Kempo. Kaju Kempo, okay, is a blend of a bunch of martial arts. So Ka, Ju, Ken, Bo. Ka is karate, Ju, judo, Ken is Chinese Kempo, Bo is boxing. Kaju Ken Bo. So like I said in a previous video of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Kaju Kempo, because they had the karate blended with the judo, blended with the Chinese Kempo, blended with the boxing, it was more so a really rugged style of self-defense. Judo, the way they would do it, you know, the karate, they got the front kicks. Judo, they would grab, throw. The Kenpo would be like flowing hands with the boxing. So fights were meant to be finished really quickly. When I got into mixed martial arts and I got the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu side, the Jiu-Jitsu side, then, you know, if it did continue on the floor, I had that flow from the hands, the feet, to the ground. And then when I got with a good Muay Thai guy, he taught me the clinch. I was like, oh man, now we're complete. But all of that came out of love, just a love for fighting, a love for violence, a love for being a competitor. You don't get to the heights of a warrior lifestyle without love. You gotta love this thing, and it's not for everybody. I'm not trying to say I'm this alpha dude, I'm this warrior, follow my path. I got a Patreon. I'm going to be putting some exclusive mindset videos. Dude, you can do what you want, man. You don't have to follow me. I'm not trying to build a cult, but you got to understand, to find and carve your life, to find and carve your authentic warrior path, you're going to have to love it. You're going to have a sense of love for hard training, for discipline, for restricting food. And you're gonna have a bigger purpose for it. And a lot of times that bigger purpose that will drive you to continue to do these crazy things, bro. I mean, jumping the rope, jogging, hitting trees, grappling. It's gonna be some type of love, okay? The warrior lifestyle, the warrior path is secondary. If you have no love in your heart, you're almost like a wild mercenary beast that kind of just has all this power but no direction. And when you have all this power that has no direction, it's directionless, it basically fades out because there's no focal point to where it can really concentrate itself, evolve, and grow. So you gotta have some love. You gotta take some time out, man, from your training. Stop trying to grind so hard. Step back, look at life, read some books, read some poetry, watch some black and white movies, man. Read some plays, go out and travel, eat different foods. The life of a martial artist, the life of a warrior will always first start with love. That's either love for family, love for the life, love for the culture, love for the people, love for the philosophy, love for the traditions, but to truly be motivated, inspired, and dedicated to grinding it out every day, you gotta have some type of love. And this is like the only motivation I can give you, man. Find the love within this life and you will find the path, the ultimate path of a warrior. I'll make more videos on this. Don't forget, if you want to jump rope, the ropes that I use, box rope, jump rope, you'll get 10% off of your purchase. Click the link below. The Patreon is up. I'll be dropping more speaking videos, more exclusive mindset videos. People ask me questions, I'll be answering them in there. And other than that, man, always remember, train hard and be kind. Let's go.